Hello everyone, I am Baby Raph, your newly appointed Monster Hunter player. I am Baby Raph, and I'm here to talk about Monster Hunter. Today's topic is something I actually don't see being talked about a lot on YouTube, and I wanted to change that. We are going to talk about the awards. So, what are the awards? Well, in Monster Hunter, at the start of every game, you receive a guild card. It contains all the data of your career as a hunter, such as hunter stats, weapon usage, logs, and more. One of the most notable sections you can find on it is the awards section, which contains our object of interest. The awards themselves are simply a set of in-game achievements. Whenever you complete the requirements for one, it will appear on your guild card, so that you can flex on your fellow hunters. As far as I can tell, this system has been around since Monster Hunter Freedom, for the PSP. Since then, we've seen a lot of different awards. Some of them were completely unique to one game, while others are staples that you can expect to find in any entry in the series. However, they are not required for anything in the game. The only thing they unlock is, well, more of themselves. This might explain why many hunters do not particularly chase them, or simply do not care about them. But I do! You see, I'm a stupid completionist. In every game I play, I want to attain a form of 100%. Talking about, like maxing the trainer card in Pokemon games, or beating every side quest and boss in a JRPG, stuff like this. It can be a self-imposed challenge, but in general, I prefer when a game gives me something to show for it. So yeah, I love my progress bars and stuff, so when Monster Hunter shows me those big empty boxes that fill up as I progress as a hunter, man, it just clicks. For me, a Monster Hunter game is completed only when I fill this card. Period. Of course, it's always possible to go way harder. For example, you could craft every possible piece of equipment in the game, but personally, I like to stick to the awards. It gives a good overview of the gameplay possibilities in a given Monster Hunter game, and also it gives me some purpose in the endgame. So far, I have played through Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, and Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. And I have completed the guild card in all but Freedom Unite and Sunbreak, both of which I'm currently working on. Though some games are missing, I feel like I covered a lot of what's out there, so I'm eager to make a video on it now. Obviously, the biggest flaw here is that I haven't played World and Iceborne yet, so I won't be able to cover them because this video relies a lot on my personal experience playing the games. However, if you have played them, and if you feel like any of their awards deserve a spot on the list, be sure to let me know in the comments. I definitely want to play the game at some point, so I would love to learn about all the pain that awaits me for when I try to complete it. Okay, with all that said, let's start. Here are the top 10 worst awards I had to get in Monster Hunter. Why not the best? No, because I'm a little hater. Okay, here we go. At the start of the top 10 list of all time, we have the lame awards. Huh. Well, that's a poor hook. But hear me out. Admittedly, I am a bit reaching to make it to 10, but I also think it'd be a good starting point to explain what can make a good award. So, the lame awards. What do I mean by this? Essentially, the kind of award that you receive for something trivial, that you get over the course of regular gameplay. For example, in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, there were a bunch of those, rewarding gathering 50 times, carving 1 time. Okay, thanks. Now don't get me wrong, I'm fine with some awards being easy to get. In fact, it's really not about difficulty here, but rather how mundane the requirement is. It feels like I'm being rewarded for something I would have done anyway. It really does not match the overall feel I want from an award. Let's illustrate it further with another one, the Dreadnought Destroyer Plaque, from Rise. It is given to you for hunting 1,000 monsters and... oh, that's it. Now, that shouldn't be a problem, right? That's exactly what you're going to do in this game. I mean look, it's written here. And it's also a pretty big number, so it's not handed to you, you have to work for it. But it doesn't give you any purpose, does it? It is way too vague. Like, okay, that's a pretty big goal, but that doesn't tell me what to hunt, or how. A cool thing with awards is to get a specific goal to strive for. It helps deal with that nasty feeling of having done everything and not being able to pick what to do next. Despite ranking higher in terms of being hard or annoying to get, at least most of the other entries in this video will deal with that. Number 9. The Canine Saddle from Monster Hunter Rise. The shabby canine saddle is gotten in Rise by mounting a canine buddy for 10 hours. Now, I realize it sounds a lot like what I was complaining just before, at the number 10. And by all means it probably should be there. But I decided to put it in its own tier. Because 10 hours feels like a lot, you know? Like how much time are you spending on a palamute anyway? Maybe what? 1 minute per quest? And unlike the last examples, palamutes are also something you can completely opt out of if you don't vibe with the mechanics, so it's not as streamlined as the Destroyer class. Like you can dodge it. So I think it deserves the proper spot. Well, if I'm being completely honest here, I guess it isn't actually that bad if you decided to play with Rise's new and unique mechanics. You know, like a normal and sane person. But yeah, not me though. I ditched the palamutes for the palicos as soon as I realized they had perks. Also, I barely even play solo, so most of the time I didn't even have the option to use both. Again, none I would have anyway. So in the end, I had to do the 10 hours in one go, and it's probably what made it feel long. But that way, it forced me in a position where I will try to use my dog in combat a bit more, and build them better so they can help out. So that award makes the player engage with content they otherwise could have ignored. Which is good. That's what I want to see. But it's still kind of an easy one to get, once you realize what you have to do anyway. So not much more to say here, eh? Alternatively, you can play dog card for a few hours. No, but for real, that's pretty fun, do give it a try.
No! No!
Number 8. The Map Awards. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere. The Map Awards are one of the staples of the guild card. They have been present in pretty much every game since the beginning, and are given for completing a certain amount of quests in a given locale. Sometimes they are split, like in 4 Ultimate or Generations Ultimate, and sometimes they're all condensed in a single one. They are usually not any trouble to get, but there's one particular instance of this award that is kind of funny. I'm talking about Hunter's Progress from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Let's just read the requirements on the wiki real quick. Clear 20 quests on each map of the game. Misty Peaks, Deserted Island, Flooded Forest, Desert, Volcano, Tundra. Okay, pretty standard so far. Underwater Ruin, Great Desert. And 20 quests combined on the Tenancy, the Sacred Land and the Tower. Whoa. So yeah. As you probably already know, Monster Hunter games have a bunch of special maps that act as dedicated arenas for specific monsters, or challenging quests. In the context of the Map Awards, these are often lumped in together, as hunting 20 Dire Miralis will probably get redundant. But not here, not this time. This time we also have that. The Underwater Ruin and the Great Desert are two of these special arenas. The ruins are home to the Ciadeus, the Golden Bird Ciadeus, and the Abyssal Lagiacrus, while the Great Desert lets you fight Gen Moran and its subspecies, the purple one. Not only are most of those very long fights with multiple sections, they are also pretty rare. Gen Moran comes up like twice in every combined quest in the game, and you fight in the Underwater Ruins like what, 4 times, tops? Even if you end up having to farm one of these for a piece of armor or something, chances are you still have a good dozen quests left for the award. And listen, I'm a huge fan of siege battles, I even consider Gen 1 to be one of the coolest and most well made across every Monster Hunter game. But even so, please, there's only so much of this I can take. Also, what I have everyone's attention on, Monster Hunter Map Awards of all things, is a nod for Capcom. I'm not a fan of the separate award thing, but if we're going to keep doing it, please keep doing it like you did in Sunbreak, with unique trinkets for each. I don't want to get 4 times the same PNG with a slight variation. I already played Gacha for that. Number 7. The Ecology Research Report. Okay, now, here's a very good one. The Ecology Research Report Award is given to you for capturing every possible monster in the game. Can I take a second to praise it a lot? Yeah, let's do it. After all, it's one of the poster boys for what I consider a good award. When you decide to get it, it sets you towards an entire new branch of the game, provided you didn't bother with it yourself in the first place. You have your list of monsters, right? Well now, just go down in order and catch them all. Oh, and don't think about the shady implications. No, look over here, shiny. Along the ride, you will have to learn what pattern of behavior indicates that a monster is ready for a capture. You may also find that some are harder than others, like Nagakuga, dodging certain traps, or Plesioth, testing your patience, and whether or not you really want to capture him at all. I mean, I can just end you right here, you know, you want me to do it? You want? In the face of these new hardships, how will you react as a hunter? Will you simply try to brute force your way through the challenge? Or maybe you will try to make a new armor set, to make things easier. Everyone stop! My psychic powers are telling me he is weakened. Also, he is coughing blood. Will you read? It's really cool, which makes the fact that it barely comes back in the recent games really sting. So long, my friend. Okay, so that's good and all, but then, why is it here? Well, there's a funny thing about it in Freedom Unite specifically. It doesn't only require you to capture every monster and every subspecies. It also wants you to capture special variants of monsters, like the Devil Diablos, the Scardian Garuga, and the Furious Raging. Okay, but that's not that bad, right? Once you know, the monsters may be a challenge, but it is doable. And yes, totally. It's easy. Once you know! I don't know, I played Freedom Unite when I was much younger. At the time I could hardly find any resources about awards. And due to the way these special individuals are treated in the game, it really isn't obvious that they should count. I barely remembered that this species even existed at all. So what if that Garuga had a scar? I would sooner imagine that I had to capture every monster in the world without fail than consider him as the missing piece of my puzzle. Now, to be fair, I was also pretty bad at English back then, but I don't care. Kiwaniko ain't got nothing on Le Guide du Hunter, baby. So, yeah, I struggled hard, so as much as I like it, it makes the list. Number 6. The Malnourished Blood. Now, another classic staple of the Monster Hunter Awards are, well, the Monster Awards. These are usually handed to you for defeating notable monsters, like the flagship of the game, the final boss of the game, the hardest, rarest monsters around, or this guy for some reason. Usually they are not hard to come by, you know, being tied to notable monsters and all. They are the closest it gets to mandatory awards. And they are not really hard to get either. In some cases, unlocking the quest can be a challenge, but when you have it, there's no hoops to go through, no grind. It's just one hunt. Doesn't get any simpler than that. Pretty standard all around, until you reach one particular outlier. And it is from... Triyu. Again. Yeah, what we're talking about here is the Malnourished Blood, the award for hunting a savage Deviljo. That is a problem... How, exactly? That's just a hard monster. like I said, just do the quest and eventually you'll beat it. Well, Savage Devil Joe back in 3U will only show up as an invader, or through event quests. Assuming you don't have access to those, you are then stuck with G-Rank Advanced Quest, which he has a very low chance of appearing in, instead of
Average Joe.
I couldn't find any solid numbers myself, but it took me and my brothers a lot of tries to get out. So most likely you're going to loop this thing like you're resetting for a shiny legendary Pokemon or something. And then you still have to beat it. And it's fine.
Laser.
Oh!
Espèce de gros.
Then you might have to beat the actual quest too. I'm not sure if failing the quest still gives you the award as long as Joe is slain. I'm tempted to say yes, but after a multiple hour session of searching for it, yeah, I wasn't going to try and find out. Sorry. But, oh well. It's still something funny to do once. You know, tracking that rare beast. I actually kind of wish we had more of these. Just make sure you never want to craft anything that requires this actual blood later on. Number 5. The Palico Training Awards. Palicos! I love Palicos! Almost as much as I hate them when they do stupid shit. Historically, there's always been a lot of awards dedicated to Palicos in Monster Hunter. Well, except in Freedom 1 and 2 of course. They didn't exist yet. They revolve around their classes, their fondness, recruiting a lot of them, or having them do some stuff on the side, like the Monster Hunter minigame. All in all, pretty cool, as it encourages people to dabble in this side of the game, which could otherwise be ignored. One of the most basic of these awards is the training. It's simple, you just max out the level of a set number of Palicos and you're golden. For example, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate merely asks you to raise Palicos to level 20, and a single one to 30 to get all the training related awards. Then, on the side, you will get other awards for using a Palico of each class a certain amount of times. But then, Capcom decided to stack all of these together. In Monster Hunter Generations, you now have to train 5 Palicos to level 50. Okay, that's fine. There's like 7 classes anyway, and if you commit to being a Prowler you can train 3 at a time, plus there's the dojo. You know, 4U made it a bit too easy anyway, so this is a welcome change. However, in Generation Ultimate, well of course we had to raise the bar, so now the level cap is 99, and now you have to train 1 Palico of each class, including the new one, so 8 Palicos to grind to level 99 for the new award. Oh, and because that was so fun to do once, years later, Rise decided they could just do that again. So you're going to have to train 5 Palicos, 1 for each class in this game, to level 50. Mind you, this is easier than Generation Ultimate, especially since Palicos are not locked to solo or duo hunt anymore, but it's still a hassle. Anyway, glory to the Body Dojo, and thanks Capcom for not raising the level cap or adding new classes in Sunbreak. Number 4. The Resource Awards. Okay, for this entry, I've grouped different awards that are similar in execution, because they require you to acquire a certain amount of currency from their respective game. This type of award is very common. A lot of the games will ask you to get a bunch of zennies or resource points, usually in pretty reasonable amounts. Except for the ones we'll talk about here, of course. Starting with the Atlantean Crabstone, from oh god damn it!
Why is it when something happens, it is always 3 you?
For it, you need to obtain 1 million Moga resource points. If that number isn't making your eyes pop out like a cartoon character, let me give some context. 1 million isn't actually even unconventional or particularly high for these awards. Oh sorry, for Zenny related awards, which are easy enough to come by in the games, so not a problem. However, the resource points tend to gravitate more towards 100,000. But that doesn't mean 1 million is undoable. In fact, when I look at my 4 Ultimate and Rise saves, I'm not that far off. But in these games, you were able to get resource points with bonus items or by just finishing a quest. Back in 3 Ultimate, the main advertised way to make resource points was to hunt in the Moga Woods. Except that won't give you jack shit. Look at this! That's the rarest, strongest monsters available and it's only worth 1500 points! That's the value of a rock! And that's not even guaranteed. You can bet what you'll get instead anyway is a tenth of that for hunting a great jaggy or something. And it's not like there's even anything wrong with these values, because it's perfectly well balanced with the different villager item requests, which the points are used for through the game. It's just the award! It decided on a wide value for some reason. So, Moga Woods is a no-no, at least if you want the award before the heat death of the universe. But hold on. What was that about a rock?
It's a rock! A rock!
That's the other option. Trading materials with the chief's son. There's a bunch of items that can be exchanged, and some of them net a pretty high value. The main one you want to farm is the lava nugget, because it's easy to get from hunting even low-rank volcano monsters. More specifically, Agnactor and Uragan. Uragan in particular, if you can reliably stun or topple it, can net you more points by getting extra nuggets from mining its back. Other options include High-Rain Plesioth for its fangs, Duramboros for its hump, or generic ore materials if you're very fucking lazy. Which I am. Also, Uragan sucks. What? No, that's not a skill issue. I also have a huge podcast playlist to catch up to, okay? Ooh, okay. I dunked it out on Trio. But I don't actually think it's the worst offender. The award that I think does deserve this title is Bahari's Henwoon Birdie from Sunbreak. It requires you to spend 3000 anomaly coins at his shop, and I've been grinding it for the past 2 months now! This grind is way worse. You can only get the coins from anomaly investigations that tend to drag in length compared to regular hunts, and you get them in such scarce quantities. Hello? You can periodically get a load of them by completing 10 of Barry's requests, but even that is not a lot in the face of 3000 coins. And then you have to actually spend them. And Barry's goods are not even that good. Like, by the time you get that many coins, you'll have those items in handsome quantity already. The mentals are good value, but again, you'd probably get them faster by hunting the monster in question rather than farming hundreds of coins. Here, I gotta mention a very similar award that appeared in Generations Ultimate. Felicity's Picture Book, that asks you to spend 2000 Horn coins. So pretty much the same, except the Horn coins are way easier to come by. And the items you can purchase are more important and unique, so there's much more incentive for players to want these coins in the first place. Number 3. The Weapon Crafting Awards. Ah, another classic in the realm of Monster Hunter Awards, of which I am the only resident, bonjour, is the Weapon Crafting Awards, usually called some variation of Wyverian Smithing Bingus, except in 4 Ultimate, where it's not that at all. Also, it's like 20 different things. Anyway, this one's funny, because despite being a staple, the requirements are never the same from one game to another. The baseline is either to craft weapons above a certain rarity, or to upgrade weapons to their max, and the amount changes every time. There is a game in particular that really pushes it in regard to the amount. You might even already see which one I want. It's Trio. It's always Trio. This version of the award demands 10 weapons of each type, so 120 total, upgraded to max level. Also 5 G-rank armor piece for each body part, but the real kicker here is the weapons. Of course, you can try to cheese your way out by crafting weak weapons, but with 10 weapons of each type to craft, there's only so much tiptoeing you can do before having to go through a path that needs a mentor or two. And not to mention, this is the old school of upgrade tree we have here, where some weapons can just upgrade in some completely unrelated stuff, and the original weapon straight up doesn't have its own final version. My advice is to plan it out way in advance, to avoid bad surprises. And watch your wallet, that stuff ain't free. Don't end up like me, I can't even eat at the canteen. I have to eat weeds. However, again, let's not single out Trio too much. It's funny, but there's actually worse, again. At least, Trio gives you those solid fixated values to attain. Monster Hunter Freedom Unite does not do that. Back then, I heard about needing a certain amount of rare weapons, but it was never specified how many. Basically, there's no way to know exactly how much you need to craft. How many weapons do I need? Does upgrading an already high rarity one count? Also, since it's technically a Monster Hunter Freedom 2 award, does the J-rank weapons even count? The only indication available is in the guild card titles. The game gives you a new title for each weapon type, and the requirements match the ones for the award. So you'll get the award once you get every title. Now, to be fair, it might be another case of me not being good enough at English and missing the better resources. It's probably a recurring thing from Freedom Unite awards, honestly. The wiki says to fully upgrade 4 weapons, and retrospectively it does look true. It lines up pretty well with what I had crafted, so might not be as bad as I remember it to be. But in any case, I had to mention it, because I definitely lost more brain cells against this than the Trio version. Oh, and also the bowguns back then could not be upgraded, so you literally had to craft a whole list until you got the title. And now, give it up for number 2! And number 1! Because yes, that's a tie, and they're definitely different enough to count as true entries. The Crown Size Awards! Why did I even commit to this format? But anyway, the crowns are absolute classics. They are in every game so far, and tied to one of the most unremarkable yet coolest feature of the game: monster sizes. Monster sizes are recorded in your guild card and hunter notes every time you hunt a monster, even if you fail the quest. Almost every monster in the game is subject to size variation, with the exception of giant siege monsters and legendary monsters like the Black Dragons. Size variations are so interesting, because despite looking like something innocent or irrelevant, they can completely warp the feel of a fight, with some attacks becoming easier or harder to dodge, or some parts being harder or easier to hit, from the monster being simply too large or too small. Once slain and recorded, the notable sizes are signified in the data by a crown next to the value. New mission? Get them all! Get ready for one of the worst grinds in Monster Hunter. There is no in-game native way to measure monsters beforehand. Except this longsword from GU, I guess? Oftentimes, the games will provide you with guaranteed sizes, commonly but not exclusively found in event quests. They pit you against crown-sized monsters with no RNG involved, with some of these being comically large or small for the occasion. I love it. But for the most part, you'll be on your own. It's you, your eyes, and your ability to gauge sizes, and trust your judgment. Oh, and shout out to Trio for the best size system in any game I played. You see, I still love you. I can't put into words how gruesome that grind is. You keep second guessing yourself, especially if not solo, and you will alternate between states of absolute confidence, like, don't waste my time, I'd definitely see it if it was a crown size, or constant doubt, maybe I should kill it just in case? All the while the numbers keep piling up. But despite all the flack I give them, I really love these awards. They're one of the first ones that really clicked with me back in Freedom Unite, and made me want to grind the games hard. Plus, it's really gratifying to make a correct call on the monster size.
Non.
Ouch. Oh, il est énorme, attends, de fait, comment il m'a touché avec
Oui,
ça?
il est énorme.
Je pense que c'est une taillure, ça, attends.
Il est énorme. Hein.
Préparez-vous à gueuler des trucs en anglais quand on aura la taille pour la vidéo.
Wouh! Let's
C'est
go!
bon.
Got it.
Let's go!
Got it. You got it.
At some point you are just able to tell if a monster is a crown or not, and it changes how you approach some encounters. Like, whenever you get invaded, your crown-sized brain will just go, "Oh, kinda big though, let's smoke it." And in the end, I think the same can be said for every award I've covered in this video. I'm a completionist, but I'm not a masochist. If I keep doing it, it's because in the end, I really like it. I like the grind even if it's tedious sometimes. I like the challenges. I just want to hold on to any reason to play the game with my brothers and friends. Pursuing these awards not only keeps me motivated to play, it also provokes funny and unique situations I wouldn't have found myself in if I wasn't chasing every monster that seemed a bit small, or looked too submissive and capturable. Why did I say that? In that way, they helped create memories. And those are the best awards a hunter could ask for, are they not? On this note, let's wrap this up. Thanks for watching, and may you get tons of crowns. Bye! Wait, I forgot to mention. Why are civil crowns a thing? The stupid beta's bullshit, why are they here? What is their purpose?